That's a tough act to follow, isn't it? So I've been in front of some of you before at different Democratic events, and some of you know me, but some of you don't. My name is Diane Adkins-Tobin. I'm running for judge of the Circuit Court. And the reason why I'm running is that I know in my heart that I am the best person, and I'm the person who you want sitting on the bench deciding issues that have to do with your families and your children and your property. And the reason for that is that I have 30 years of experience in the courtroom. And I have been in court, in trial, trying cases, criminal, civil, for 30 years. And so I know the rules of evidence, I know the rules of procedure, and what has happened to me, and we've run through the process a little bit, because a lot of people are unfamiliar with it, even attorneys are unfamiliar with it. So for circuit court judge, the Constitution requires that judges who are appointed be retained by the citizens, that people are allowed to vote. People are allowed to choose who they have for their judges. And I can tell you that the last 4 appointments to the bench in Harford County have been white males. And they've been white men from the 3 big law firms that pretty much rule the legal community in Bel Air. The last 3, and the only 3 appointments that Larry Hogan has made to the bench in Harford County have been white men. 1 from Joe Snee's firm, and 2 from Stark and Keenan. So, and I've been up for each one of those appointments. And some people say, well, you're just doing this because you're mad or because you're bitter. And yeah, okay, there's a little bit of that. But it really goes back, and I never thought that I'd be fighting this fight, because I'm the type of person, I go to work, I do my job, I raise my family, I do what I'm supposed to do. But it goes back to when I was a little girl, and some of you have heard this story before. But when I was a little girl, growing up in Erie, Pennsylvania, in between a locomotive plant and a paper mill and a polluted Lake Erie, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I would tell the teachers, and they'd go around the room, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I'd say, well, I'm going to be a lawyer. And they'd go, yeah, Diane. They'd call my mom and say, yeah, you better talk to her. And my mom would say, well, if she says she wants to be a lawyer, I kind of get out of her way, because I think that's what she's going to do. And I did. And I went to high school, and I worked hard, and I went to college, and I worked hard, and actually had to have 2 jobs to help pay my way. And I went through to law school and had some jobs to pay my way, and then I hit the legal field. And when I hit the legal field, it was 30 years ago, and things were different for women than they are now. And I did get a lot of comments like, well, honey, why don't you send your boss back, to talk about this case? Well, sweetie, why don't you step aside, because this isn't really how it's done. And I get comments like that, and I just kind of persevered through it, because what I would do basically is go into court and kick their behinds, because that was always my motivation. So here I am, kind of winding down the end of my career, and I've been trying to be a judge in Harford County for a while, and I've never quite had the political connections to get me there. So this time I get passed over again for another white man who's never really actually tried a case in a jury trial. And I just think, my God, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna just sit here and whine and complain and be bitter? Or are you gonna just step up? Because it's like Delane said, it's like Krish said, women are starting to say, wait a minute, we don't have to take this anymore. Right. We don't have to be passed over for jobs that we're qualified for by men who have political connections. So I decided to run. And what that did when I decided to run, and again, so you know who I am. I'm the Deputy State's Attorney in Harford County. I'm the number 2 in command in the State's Attorney's Office. I oversee the Child Abuse Unit, the Domestic Violence Unit, the District Court, which is Misdemeanor Court, and the Juvenile Court Division. I oversee and teach probably a good 15 prosecutors how to try cases and how to be fair, because that's what I'm all about, is being fair. So I just thought, I'm not a nobody in this county. But what it has done for me is the legal establishment and the legal community, they just turn their backs on me. And there are people who I've known for years and years and years who suddenly walk away from me at bar functions and don't sit next to me while we're waiting for our cases to be called. And it's really been a little disturbing to have that happen, because people really show their true colors in a situation like this. They really do. So that's always bothered me. But the one thing that they have said is, well, Diane, you know, tradition is that people don't run against the judges. Attorneys don't run against the judges. And I just say to them, well, you know, tradition is that, you know, 50 years ago, women weren't even allowed to be members of the Bar Association. People of color weren't allowed to be members of the Maryland State Bar Association until 50, 60 years ago. And you know, yesterday we all talk about this royal wedding, like it's really exciting, and I'm kind of into it. And we talk about the royal wedding, and you look at an establishment like the British monarchy that's been in existence for centuries. And what did they do yesterday? They accepted a woman of color into their ranks and into their family. They broke with tradition. So if Queen Elizabeth can break with tradition, the people of Harford County can break with tradition. Okay? And that's what I'm asking you to do. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my background, okay, about what I do. And the reason why I'm asking you to vote for me is a little strange and a little unusual, because I know that people look at me and they go, well, she's a prosecutor. She goes into court. She's pretty nasty, and I am. But the reason why is because the cases that they give me to prosecute are nasty cases. I prosecute people who think nothing of putting a gun to the back of the head of a 21-year-old and pulling the trigger and killing him and ending his life. Case I did a few years ago. Last year I prosecuted a man who grabbed a woman off of the streets in Aberdeen, total stranger, dragged her into the bushes and murdered her by stabbing her 45 times. I prosecuted him. I've spent 10 years prosecuting people who manipulate children and sexually assault children and manipulate them. And that's what I spent a good part of my career in Harford County prosecuting. So the young ones I supervise now, they always laugh at me because they come in with this case and they're all upset. And this guy, and he did this. He was going through cars, and I go, well, wait a minute. Okay, slow down a little bit here. And I think you should go to jail. And it's like, slow down, slow down, slow down. How old is he? Well, he's 18. Yeah. Okay. And I want to say, well, did you ever do anything really stupid when you were 18? Because I think we all did. And I'm grateful to this day that they didn't have Facebook when I was growing up, because I would be totally screwed, okay? So, and I think we all are. But, so I really believe in second chances, because I've seen the worst of the worst, okay? I've seen what is truly evil in Harford County. I've seen truly evil. And so I know, and I get it, and I understand, and I believe in second chances. And I think that there's a whole category of crimes that are committed by people who really just do something stupid. You know what I mean? And we all have kids, and we all have teenagers, and we all just look at them and say, oh my God, what did you do? And unfortunately, when they're 18, they come into the criminal law element. That doesn't mean they're criminals. It means they're charged with a crime. Now, right now, as a prosecutor, I look at those cases and I think, well, you know, I don't know if this is really something we really need to be worrying about. And I can tell you that I understand that there's a whole category of cases that come before the court that are committed by people who really just do something stupid, completely out of character, not thinking, going along with their friends, whatever it is. I believe in second chances for people like that because I get it. You know, because I've seen the bad, the ugly, the horrible. And so I get what that is. There's a whole nother series of criminal acts that are committed by people who have addiction issues. And there's nothing that breaks my heart more than knowing that there's someone who has an addiction issue, be it alcohol, opioids, drugs. Every single person I know, and I'm going to raise my hand, has family members who have struggled with these. all right, struggle with these. That group of cases should be given the opportunity to have rehabilitation, to have treatment, because we accomplish nothing locking someone away and locking them in jail for X number of years or even X number of days. If we don't, because they're going to get out again, and what's going to happen, right? They're just going to go right back to the addiction. So I'm a big believer in treatment, and I have never, as a prosecutor, never stood in the way of someone who needs treatment, who is in treatment, who needs and wants to continue that. And I have been known to dismiss cases, and I've been known to allow people to continue on probation when they violate their probation. Because like I said, I've seen true evil. And someone who steals a sandwich because they're addicted to drugs is not true evil. That's someone who needs help. And that's my experience, and that's what I mean when I say I get it. And I get the difference. So I need to be, and I really should be, and I want to be, the person who makes those decisions for all of us, all the people of Harford County. I want to be the person who decides who gets custody of your children and your grandchildren. I want to be the person who decides property disputes between neighbors. I want to be the judge who decides all of those things. I have the experience for it, and I really think that I deserve it at this point. Yes. There's a vote. So what I'm asking all of you to do, and I know this is the group, it's preaching to the choir to you guys, because I think what Chris said is absolutely right. We allowed 2016 to happen. And I see it all over Harford County. You know, when I look at the voter statistics, I see that there are people who stayed home in the primaries. And you know, if you really want to affect a change in this community, a change from the status quo, you need to get out and get the vote out and get your friends to come out and vote.
When do we vote?
June 26th. Or you can do early voting if you have to work. But you really need to get the vote out. We really need to do it. Because the worst thing we could do is just be complacent and just sit back and just let it happen.
Explain how the primary works for you.
So for me, it's very simple. We run in both primaries because it's nonpartisan. So I run in the Republican primary, I run in the Democratic primary. And so I've been reaching out to a lot of Democratic groups, a lot of Republican groups actually, just with my message and reaching out and saying hello and meeting people. And so because there are two positions, and this is what really helps, there are 2 spots open. And there's 3 people right now running for 2 spots. So the first 2 vote getters in each primary gets to move on to November. So what I'm asking you to do is to just vote for me. I know you're all smart, you figured it out, right? And I've had people say to me, well, I'm going to vote for you, but I'm going to also vote for and they'll say another name. And I can't tell them no. I mean, when they say, no, don't vote for you. Appreciate it, thank you very much. But if you really, really want to make a difference, because the 2 of them, my opponents, are running together. They're running as a slate. And they have a lot of money because they represented developers, they represented, commercial enterprises. And my line is, abused children don't have money to give to my campaign. That's who I've been representing. So they do have a lot of money. They do have, but what I think and what I found actually is I do have a lot of support out there. It's just that people, attorneys are reluctant to just go against tradition, right? So, but when I go out with the people, I think that Chris is absolutely right. I think Delane is absolutely right. When I meet with people, they always say, yeah, I'm going to vote for you because we need more women in charge. And I know, I'm sorry, men, but that's what, I think it's time, I really do. I think it's time that women stand up and just say, we're done,
Yes.
We're done. And because I'm done. And I never thought I'd be fighting this fight in 2018, 18 years into the 21st century. But I'm done. And so that's why I'm running. And once again, thank you all for your support. Tell your friends. Questions?
What happens in the general if you were,
Well,
to go forward, but I don't quite understand.
okay, so in the general, So theoretically, there's 4 slots. First in Democrat, second in Democrat, first Republican, second Republican. So what's interesting this year, so if the same 2 people get first and second, then those 2 people will be on the ballot in November for 2 spots. So you'd like to think, yay, right? If she wins, she's good. But no, there's another attorney who's coming in as a libertarian. So he's coming in as a third-party candidate. So he's going to be in the mix. And so even getting past the primary, I still have to campaign and fight. Although I'll probably be in a little better position if I were to win both primaries, which is really what I want to do. Because I think that would really send a message to, and it's not really so much Hogan, because let me tell you, I don't think he picks, okay? I don't think he sits down, because I only met with him once. I've been up for 3 positions. I interviewed with him, it was like 3-4 years ago. So it's not like he sits down and goes through and makes, interviews everybody and decides who the most qualified person is. And I think we all know that. So it's not really so much him. To me, the message that I want to send goes to the elite. I call them the big 3 that run the legal community in Bel Air. And I want the message to go to them. You don't run things anymore. You guys don't run things anymore. The people of Harford County run things, and the people of Harford County are the ones who get to decide who the judges are, not you, okay? Not you. So to answer your question is the libertarian, and I know him, and he's a good guy, but if he comes in, he's got to get through the petition thing, all right? And if that were to happen, then potentially all 4 of us could be on in the fall. But if he doesn't get the petition signed, and if there's just 2 of us left, then it will be the 2 of us on the ballot. So it's really all kind of up in the air anyway. But yeah, there's a third-party candidate coming in, which a lot of people don't understand how that works, and I had to actually go and read it. But that's what happens. He has to get the petition and petition on, and then he'll be on the ballot for just the fall. So there still could potentially be a race into the fall. But, I have my signs, so I'm good. So anyway, thank you all. If anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll take any question that you have. If you're interested in supporting me, I do need poll workers. And I have some cards in the back that has my information. If you want to take a sign for your yard, please do. Stick it right in there. And thank you all for your time. And one more thing, I really appreciate the work that you do. I can't get involved in political things right now because I'm running for judge. There are certain rules of judicial ethics that I need to follow. But I really like your mission. I think I went to the NAACP meeting where your organization got the award. I loved your speech, Delane.
She's the best.
Is she the best? And I've known Delane for a long time, and she's always been the best. She's dragged me into more things than I can count. But anyway, so that's why I kind of have to, lay back, because we're not allowed to get involved in a lot of political type groups. But I do have a lot of admiration for what your groups are trying to accomplish in this community, because for so long Harford County is just accepted, gone along with the status quo, and the fact that there's an organization that's making some noise is a good thing. It's a very good thing. So again, thank you for your time.